We live in a world that absolutely glorifies the packed schedule, the overflowing inbox, right? But what if our obsession with being busy is actually making us, well, worse at everything? Today, we're going to explore this really powerful paradox: why the most valuable thing you can do for your mind might just be doing nothing at all. And I mean, come on, truly nothing. No scrolling on your phone, no podcasts in your ears, not even mentally running through your to-do list. Just being. If you're struggling to even remember the last time, hey, you're not alone. And that's the exact problem we're going to unpack right now. So let's talk about what some people call the cult of busy. It's this unspoken rule in our society that a jam-packed schedule is somehow a sign of a successful, important life. But what if that's all just a dangerous illusion? This quote absolutely nails it. It gets right to the heart of the problem. We've basically been taught to believe that constant motion, answering emails at all hours, running errands, just checking off tasks, is a sign of our own importance. We're confusing motion with meaning and all that activity with real accomplishment. And look, this nonstop lifestyle, it has a serious cost. Our brains are always on, which leads to chronic stress and something called decision fatigue. You know that feeling of being just mentally wiped out from making too many small choices all day? And maybe worst of all, it totally blocks our creativity and denies us that essential mental downtime our brains desperately need to function. So, what's actually happening up there in our minds when we finally give them a break? Well, it turns out there's some pretty fascinating brain science at play when we embrace the power of what feels like empty moments. Okay, I want you to meet your default mode network, or DMN for short. The easiest way to think of it is as your brain's screensaver. It just kicks in when you're not focusing on a specific task, like when you're daydreaming, or in the shower, or just letting your mind drift. And far from being off, this network is incredibly active. It's absolutely vital for things like cementing memories, processing emotions, and sparking those brilliant aha moments. So really, we're faced with two very different paths for our brain. On one side, you've got constant stimulation, which leads straight to stress and creative blocks. But on the other, allowing our minds to wander activates that DMN, and that leads to memory consolidation, emotional balance, and those incredible creative breakthroughs. See, this isn't about working less, it's about resting smarter. And this brings us right to the solution. We have to reframe doing nothing. It's not a failure of ambition. It's not being lazy. It's a deliberate and powerful skill that we can and should cultivate. Let's give it a name: intentional idleness. And let me be clear, this has nothing to do with laziness. This is an active, deliberate choice to carve out time for non-productive rest. And here's the crucial part. It's about learning to detach our sense of self-worth from how much we produce. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do it in a world that just never, ever stops? Well, the good news is it's a lot simpler than you might think. Here are 3 really simple practices. Each one is designed to quiet that focused, task-oriented part of your brain and let that default mode network take over. You could try a mindful walk. No step counter, no destination in mind, just walking and observing what's around you. Or intentionally set aside just 5 minutes to sit and daydream. Seriously. Or you can practice savoring, just fully experiencing a simple pleasure, like the warmth and smell of a cup of tea without any other distractions. And this is where it all comes together. Because when you start investing in these little moments of idleness, something really surprising starts to happen. Let this idea just sink in for a second. Rest isn't the opposite of being productive, it is productive. It's not some luxury you earn after all the hard work is done. It's a critical part of doing your best work in the first place. And the return you get on that investment in rest, it's massive. We're talking sustained energy, much better mental clarity, and a huge boost in creativity. You actually become a better problem solver because your brain has finally had the space it needs to connect ideas. And all of this contributes to your long-term well-being, making you way more effective and resilient. So in the end, this isn't about finding more time to be lazy. It's really about finding the courage to do what this quote says, to disconnect from all those endless external demands so that you can finally reconnect with your own internal rhythm. So I'll leave you with this question. In a world that's constantly demanding that you do more, what incredible things might you discover or create or solve by having the courage to finally, truly do nothing?